What's up, everyone? Welcome to podcast number 32. Today I have with me Panshui, usual guest, and two new people, DrSquirrel and Ozakir. As always, I'll let them introduce themselves first, and then we'll just get started there. So, Panshui just starts off as usual.
Hey, what's up, guys? You guys already seen me before. I was roasting all these people, but I'm pretty sure these guys are gonna be like soon and upcoming into CCI, yeah?
True.
But that said, hi, I'm Twitch. I am Panshui. You guys can catch me on twitch.tv/Panshui. I also do coaching by all means, so you guys can slide me over in the DMs to get some help.
Thank you. And DrSquirrel.
What's up, guys? DrSquirrel, YouTuber, because I'm too dumb to figure out Twitch. I've just been playing E7 for a while, making community guides, and a bunch of you probably know me by now.
And Ozakir.
Yeah, I am Rikazo or Ozakir, whatever you want to call me. A relatively new streamer, streaming for about 2+ months now, and I play RTA and try and have fun in Epic 7.
Thank you. So, thank you for joining us tonight. And I'm just gonna get started here. I guess we'll just go right into the. I guess we'll just get started on topic one. It's just gonna be straight up and simple. We're gonna talk about all the collab characters and the new ML. So first one is Rimuru. What are your guys' thoughts on this character, skills, and how you plan to use them? Aside from the fact that the skill 3 is kind of weird.
I personally think Rimuru is really good for the current meta. I think he's gonna fit very nicely into this meta, and he's sort of like a neutral pick in the sense that his S3 ignores elemental disadvantage, and he also doesn't care about missing in order to copy buffs, right? So he's pretty good as like a third pick option into, especially like made teams, right, to copy buffs. And he's also very interesting into stuff like close to Charles Cleave, because if you get hit by Charles S3, then suddenly Rimuru gives your whole team evasion. Similar with Cerise, if you get hit by Cerise S3, you give your whole team invincibility. So very interesting kid overall, and I think he'll be very, very fun to play.
Slowly, aggro's dying. Send hope.
True.
I feel like one of the things about Rimuru though is initially I thought that the S3 didn't matter if you missed, but then it says you needed a successful attack, right? So
yes,
it means on Violet it's you still kind of have to, hit him, unfortunately. So it doesn't fully work with that, but yeah.
I think the real Violet counter is the second collab unit.
True.
Yeah.
But aside from that, like, how do you guys feel like you'll build, I guess, this character, and any other thoughts on your skills and whatnot?
I don't know. I think building him is probably going to be pretty weird. He does have like a lot of fixed damage here and there, so there could be a possibility where you can actually just build him like straight tank, but I feel like his best suit is probably going to be close to like built like Landy, is hot guess.
Oh, so like a bruiser?
I'm starting to think that he might be built as a bruiser, because then at the end of the day, he is an Earth Warrior. He can still use like Sigurds and all, so like it's not like he can't do damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because like the way that his S3 works, like if people didn't read correctly, it's actually he does damage, and then on top of it, then he does fixed damage. So this guy can actually probably dish out like a lot of damage, but I wouldn't know for sure, right? Until I actually see it. It could be very scary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it looks like it's like another LRK.
Do we know how many buffs it takes to hit that 10,000 damage? Like, I'm thinking build him kind of slow in like a bruiser draft, and basically you take the turn 2, and I mean 10,000 fixed damage, you'll just wipe him out right away, pretty much.
Yep, basically.
Chat saying 8 buffs apparently.
Oh, that's easy.
That's easy then.
That's pretty easy.
I don't know if it's 100% confirmed. Wait, technically Rimuru's S2, you steal, like, depending on who you're against, I guess. If you steal 2 buffs, right? Wait, how does that work again? Like
You copy 2 buffs
You
to
copy
your whole
2
team.
buffs.
copy 2
So you would
buffs.
give your whole team 8 buffs, and that
I
way
don't think so. Doesn't he only copy for himself? It just copy for the caster, no?
it copies for the whole team.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Hmm.
This says grant their effect to all allies.
Huh. So I guess technically you might be able to get that S3 damage, 10,000 fixed damage off pretty quickly then. Wait, so you say you're gonna go like a tankier build, DrSquirrel?
I want him to get to turn 2, right? Because basically he's like a counter initiation hero in a way, because they open on you, you counter, get buffs up, and steal it. Especially if they're trying, because I play a lot of A Ravi openers nowadays, and like a big threat to me is LQC. So if they attack me with that, basically maybe I can get to turn 2 off and kill something real quick if I have that 10,000 fixed damage.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you get anything attack buff in the opener with like Amelia or something, basically you give your whole team attack buff and immunity, assuming that they had immunity, which they probably did. Well, I mean, granted, in that situation, your A-Ravi's probably dead anyway, but the idea kind of holds true.
I mean, I guess, yeah, like when you're playing like at like a higher rank, most people are gonna have immunity on a lot of characters, unless it's like specific people who kind of shifted off to penetration set now, I guess, right?
Just do Pen Rimuru. Easy.
I was gonna try it actually. I do think Bruiser is the way. Yeah, I think Bruiser is the way to go, and I'm actually gonna try Pen. Depends really on how good his modifiers are, but I think he'll be very good in like a FCC Amelia draft, because FCC barrier plus immunity is gonna be almost 8 buffs already, right? And then if you push him up with Amelia, maybe his S3 can just delete anything, right? If you get 10k plus like a Pen attack buff, Rimuru S3. So we'll see. Very interesting kit though. I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't know what I was expecting for the collab units, but definitely not this like fixed damage. It is like I don't think we have anyone that has fixed damage on their skill kit yet, right? Do we? I'm not sure if I'm.
I mean, besides if we think about like true damage.
It's like artifacts have
like 100 fixed damage, or it's like, why is this even in the game? I feel like this is the first case where it's actually worth thinking about.
10,000 damage. I think one of the things about I think what worries me the most is having 10,000 damage as fixed damage can mean a squishy unit can straight up die like in one shot. Like it will guarantee a one shot. Right?
I feel like defense. It's possible that defense and mitigation still plays a role though, because technically it's not true damage.
Mitigation. I think Aureus, right?
Because then I'm not exactly sure what it means by fixed damage. This isn't like penetrate defense or anything. So it's possible that this 5k could actually be dealing like a lot less.
I'm also not sure about the wording, if it counts as like an additional proc, like Ibir's Tooth, for example, or if it's just like it adds 10k to the damage.
Yeah,
so because it is the first case, we don't really have a basis off of it, I think, right? Or haven't really seen it yet.
I guess that it might be like F10A's artifact or something.
Oh yeah, wait.
I feel like it's always going to be 10k. I mean, does anyone know that F10A artifact? Like, does that get affected by Aureus?
Pretty sure it does. The afterthought.
So you could reduce it. 8,000 still solid though.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't. Yeah, I mean, even in that case, it's like having the fixed damage is really nice. Then I guess. Okay. Aside from that, artifact-wise, then let's talk about the artifact. What are your thoughts about that? Who do you plan to... Do you feel like it's something you'll be using on Rimuru? Because when I look at the artifact, I feel like I might use it on other characters, to be honest.
I was almost thinking of trying it on my I mean, I actually think the artifact's pretty good because all the buffs on there, I mean, it's 100% and all the buffs are actually solid. Like a lot of times when you have like buff mechanics, they have random stuff in there like increased effectiveness or something where it's like, I don't really want to risk getting that. But really, you can't go wrong with any of those buffs there. So I run Draco on my A-Ravi. I know I might switch to Crimson, but now I might consider this because, I mean, if they don't have a strip, what's better? Like, I mean, immunity, it's a pretty low chance. It's like a, 20% chance of each of these buffs? But I don't know. depending on how you draft, or if you have cleansers and you play a lot of Amelia or something, like it might be worth trying this thing.
Yeah, I can see it.
I agree. I think it's a very strong artifact. The main problem is you need a lot of copies, right, to get the 100%.
It is a plus 30 artifact once
Yeah,
again.
it's one of those.
Unfortunately.
Okay, that's fair. Do you guys feel like aside from this artifact, like if you're not using this on Rimuru, right? What other artifacts do you feel like you would decide to use in this case?
Typical warrior artifacts, right? There's not too many other warrior artifacts out there. Maybe Hellcutter, but I can't say for sure. It sounds kind of weird.
I think he wants to cycle too fast for Hellcutter.
Yeah, so there could be like a lot, right? Even Warhorn could be a thing.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting.
Otherwise, if we're planning to play turn 2, even something like Sigurd's is really strong turn 2.
Sigurd's Draco. I guess the standards then. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a standard warrior artifacts.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Fair. Okay. So let's. Okay. I guess in this case, we can talk about the second one, which I think a lot of people refer to as like the Fire Violet, essentially now. Let's hear your thoughts about. Let's hear your thoughts about Milim.
I mean, when I read the kit, at first I was a little confused, but it just looks like a Landy counter to me now. I hate Landy, so I didn't really need a Landy counter because she's a 100% pre-ban for me every single game, so I haven't run into Landy this entire season. But I mean, this is actually a really strong option against Landy, right? Because at first I was like, this is weird. What is this stealth removal thing? But a lot of people just run high DPS Landys, and they just rely on Guiding Light to try and survive. So this pretty much means like any like made Landy comp, like if she gets a turn, the Landy just kind of dies. So I pretty much feel like her kit is just built to hard counter Landy. I don't know what else she might be good against. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts?
I think she is definitely very strong into Violet. She already gains 20% hit chance from her passive, and then if you run Symbol, that's 40% hit chance. You'll only have a 50% chance to miss Violet. I think she's also very similar to Rylet. She just needs a turn to kind of become Rylet, right? She gains 70% evasion. She has her own attack buff with S1, and she has a focus mechanic, right? So she's kind of good in a longer game where she can stack up her focus and start to pop off these whatever her S2 is called, Draco something. Assuming her S3 hits hard enough, she should be able to delete Landys pretty well. I don't know if she'll one-shot a Landy, but maybe with like Amelia into Milim if you're on sort of a high damage build.
I mean, it's possible because then it does ignore damage sharing, so...
Yeah, it does ignore Arius and everything, so we'll see her modifiers, I guess, but definitely a very strong kit, and I think if you build her like a bruiser or like lifesteal maybe even, I think her builds are pretty flexible. She'll be a very sticky DPS with that 70% evasion.
Yeah, it's one of my viewers was joking about how we're gonna get a fire version of Violet and a water version. I'm like, nah, no way. And then like once I saw these skills, I was like, oh, we're actually cool.
It's more of Rylet than it is of Violet. Violet is a different breed.
Okay, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, she doesn't have a built-in counter and CR boost and anything like that.
She can though. That's the thing.
She can. True, she can.
She can though.
She can. I think you potentially run her on lifesteal plus her own artifacts, but I don't know if that will be like the best way. I think there's gonna be a lot of different builds.
Yeah, it's also possible that we might just see like Togga Hells on her, of course, right? Because then you could just Soulburn, give her attack buff, and then just bop something with like her S3.
Yeah,
and I think that's something that there's a strong potential that might be the case too, right?
For sure.
But I don't know how it's actually gonna be played when you see like Bellion, but maybe we'll see.
Bellion will always be good against in these situations. Yeah. I guess one of the things for me is like the stealth thing. Like, what do you guys feel like about the stealth? Like how her passive just removes stealth. Like, do you like it? Do you dislike it?
I mean, in general, I dislike it, but I mean, it's just more like rock, paper, scissors. Well, that's what I'm saying. I was kind of thinking what Panshui thought, like just put it on Togga Hells, and Landys just straight up can't survive, right? As long as she can survive turn 1, basically you just soul burn into a Landy, self-attack buff. If the S3 has any kind of decent modifier, that Landy's going to die because Aureus can't even help. So I mean, I don't really like these kind of just rock, paper, scissors mechanics, but I mean, there's so many heroes in the game now. I feel like Smilegate is running out of options. You're just going to keep adding these kind of things. So it's just going to be like you see Landy, you pick Milim, and they're in a bad spot, and you have to either draft around it or commit to banning it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say rock, paper, scissors is technically bad, though, so sorry we're falling into a tangent, but I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like, it's kind of forthcoming, right? Because then as once they start like adding more and more characters in, we're gonna get to the point where our character pool just like grows like crazy. And the thing is, like, back compared to like season 1, season 2, where our character pool was like probably like 10 or 15 units, now we actually have like a character pool ranging from like where we can actually transition playstyles. And I personally think that, to me, is really enjoyable.
I would agree, yeah. I think
Okay.
our kit is actually pretty healthy for the game. I think a
Yeah.
mechanic like this is needed, and I think Landy has been such a dominant DPS for so long that having sort of a counter to Landy is not a bad thing, right? It's good to have a way to target her more specifically than just running like fire units that are like AoE based, right? I think it's good to have a sort of unit that is more focused to dealing with Landy while also being good against different things.
Okay. I guess, okay. One thing that I'm worried about, and I see some people commenting about, is people don't like the things where it's kind of just like a selling a counter to things, right? So for example, like, you know, the same way where Belian was, people express concerns over selling a counter to Tagahel's book. And now it's kind of like selling a counter to like Guiding Light in that sense, right? A unit that just straight up negates, or well, doesn't negate, I guess. It like removes it, allows you an easier chance to fight against it, right? That kind of thing. And I'm kind of neutral against it with this personally, but do you feel like these concerns are like warranted? Like, is it bad if this continues down this trend, or is it still healthy for the game, do you think?
I think we're at the point where, to be honest, it's just like how people were spamming like S10 and Landy back in her day, the moment when Bellion was introduced, right? She's like neither one of those units where I would probably say is too OP, right? And I think it's actually okay, because then we definitely do see like a lot of people kind of shifting playstyles so freaking quickly. And the thing is like, compared to like back then when people just played like the same things over and over and over, right? And it becomes like really, really hard for you to play. You kind of witness the fact that, oh, here's the thing. People are going to be playing the same units, like if these units were not here in the first place.
Yeah.
And we actually saw this in like the CCI, for example, right? When certain units like Bellion and all the scary units or all the cancer units were basically gone. And when all the cancer units were gone, we realized that, wait, we're just moving back a season anyway, and nothing really changed. That's the thing. And sure, the only problem with this is, like the chat says, this does introduce a lot of power creep, though. And the biggest concern when it comes down to this is that because right now Smilegate is releasing so many freaking banners that we have to be pulling on, there's so many units that we actually want. They went back like literally not so long ago where we actually saw like, you know, a collab, and now all of a sudden we have a couple limited units that people have to pull.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we now have another collab, and it's literally right after this maintenance. It's kind of boomed, you know. To me, it's kind of, I won't say it's too stupid, but I don't know. I guess my only concern right now, because then I'm trying to compete in this current season, I'm pretty sure, I don't know, DrSquirrel, Ozakir, you guys could probably say the same. This thing is like straight mid-flat, like right before, like a week before RTA season ends.
I think Milim comes out 3 days before RTA ends, I heard.
Like everything's going to be shifting so fast.
I think this timing was. I was actually asking people in my Discord about that. Like, usually they time. Like, isn't the balance patch also happening before the RTA season ends?
Yeah,
the timing is terrible this season.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
I feel like all of a sudden just noticing the meta is going to be shifting like literally once, but then not even like probably like once when Rimuru comes out, and then twice when freaking Milim comes out. Oh my god, dude!
This is kind of like when this is like when ML Tywin first got buffed back then. That was it season 2 or was it season 1?
Exactly, right? It's like, when nobody had a Tywin, and then everyone had to like start building them as soon as possible. Everyone had to shift. Yeah, and it's like one of those kind of concerns where it's like, oh shit, we're going back to this part again, and it's like season 2. It's stupid.
actually, on that, are all three of you pushing for legend this season?
Well,
Yeah.
have fun. I don't know. I'm pretty.
I don't know.
I'm pretty confident in my top 30 right now, but
Whoa, okay, damn. So I'm guessing DrSquirrel, Rikazo, both of you two are also?
I might. I've actually kind of been retired from semi-retired from still. I started playing a week ago, so I'm still getting used to the meta because I've been playing nothing but D2R actually. But I just got back into it. I pumped through like 200 games this week, so
Wow.
I'm like 300 Emperor or something now. So we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I play a lot right now because I stream and stuff, so I started playing more RTA, and yeah, I'll hopefully end in Legend. Should happen. We'll see.
Okay. Well, good luck to you guys. We'll see what happens then with that meta. Then people can definitely watch and see how you guys fare against the meta changes as that happens. Okay.
I do think there's a somewhat of a problem releasing Milim just 2 days before the season ends, though. I don't really mind today's patch with Rimuru because there's still over a week left, but having a new character as strong as Milim come out 2 days beforehand is a bit much, maybe.
Yeah.
It's a crazy shift. There's a good possibility that most of us right now are probably not going to have Molas either, so the timing is just really, really off.
Yeah.
And then there's also like a balance patch. It's like, wow, there's only units to build all of a sudden, and it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I guess I guess that's one thing I'm fearful about, because it's not just like, it's like everyone's gonna rush to build it, and then at that time it's, depending on how well the unit is, you're gonna have to either try to figure out a counter or try to figure out a way to use it yourself, like ASAP, right? If it's really good. So it's like a last minute rush thing, which yeah. Okay. Okay, I don't know how much we'll be able to talk about this particular unit, but Shuna, aka the free unit, which is a Fire Soul Weaver. I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts about this? Like, I found her skill kit kind of weird. Like, not also kind of weak.
But I thought her S2 was kind of quirky.
Because
the way that it's actually being used or stated in this case is that it redistributes HP of all allies to be equal to each other in terms of probably percentage, is my guess. And I thought that would be pretty interesting for, like, you know, interesting interactions when, let's say, for example, you play Crow or like BBK or any other unit that really cares about their HP, right? I don't know. I thought she would be like a really cool unit to actually look at still, regardless, because of how unique her S2 is. This is the first time we actually see a healing that's technically not healing, but your units basically just share HP, an HP pool.
Yeah. Sorry, go for it.
Oh, I was just gonna say, when I first saw her kit, I think she was pretty interesting, but after thinking about it, I realized her S3 needs 5 focus to be used, and that means she's gonna have a lot of dead turns, just spamming S1, and her S1 is not too impactful. It's just a self-heal, right?
Yep.
So the S2 cleanse into barrier is very interesting, and the S3 is pretty good itself, right? But I feel like she might have too many dead turns to be like really impactful.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah, I don't think this thing will be usable in RTA. I mean, the thing is, I actually kind of like the idea of her kit because, I mean, going kind of back to the rock, paper, scissors mechanics, like, this is kind of the hero I like where they kind of merge existing mechanics into one hero to kind of open up options. So I don't really like when we have this drafting style where it's like, oh, they pick something, I'm going to pick a hard counter, then they pick a hard counter, then you pick a hard counter, and then you just wait and see who evades or counters more. Like that, I kind of hate that kind of style. So this hero I find really interesting. I think it's bad, but it's kind of like Amelia. Amelia didn't really have any new mechanics, right? But it was kind of like a half Oxlots and Soul Weaver put together. And I actually thought that was really interesting. This is kind of like a weird like AoE, SSA, and like, I don't even know, like a Sage Ball put together. In practice, I don't think this kit's very good, but at least it's interesting.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I think I honestly thought she was a lot better initially, until when I reread her S3, like you said, Rikazo, that I didn't realize it needed focus until afterwards, and I was like, oh, so
yeah, she's a focus unit.
Also,
Yeah.
her S2 has a pretty long cooldown, 4 turns after Mola, so it's
Yeah.
pretty rough.
Yeah. Some people were saying they would try running her on counter. I don't know. I don't
It
have counter.
sounds too deep in the sauce for me. I don't know. I don't think counter
Yeah,
is.
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Too deep. Okay. Okay, fair. So to you guys, I guess to you guys, this doesn't really feel like a PvP unit, huh? Like more of like a PvE possibly.
No, I don't even think it's PvE possible either. It's the kit basically it just sounds like I don't know why it's distributed like that. Sleep
Mhm.
debuff practically isn't really meant for like PvE in the first place. This
Yeah.
literally was intended to be like a free to play like PvP unit.
Yep.
I'm guessing this is the
But-
free one, though, right? You don't even have to pull for this thing.
Yeah, you get her
Yeah.
through side story and like the login
Yeah,
events
I
and
feel
stuff like
those
that.
usually end up sucking, so I guess they're just following their paradigm.
Yeah.
Yup.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, she's like almost good. I feel like she's pretty interesting, but also
Almost good.
yeah, her stat line is really awkward, right? Because you need F for her S3, but nothing else needs F, and sometimes you probably won't even get to use S3 because you won't have the focus to, like, you won't have time to build it up. So building a lot of
yeah.
F to land sleeps, I don't know. It feels pretty awkward to build her in general.
I think
Oh,
if she
yeah.
had just one more turn of like one less cooldown on her S2 and maybe like it was easier
Yeah.
to get into her S3, I think it would have been fine. But in this kind of position, I don't think it's very easy.
The
Like it just falls. It
artifact.
falls in the same boat as like Shu or something, right? Where Shu
Mhm.
takes a lot too long to actually like get going, and that's
Mhm.
the same problem right now that I see in her.
Yep.
Do you feel like her artifact could be used on other Soul Weavers?
I don't think. I mean, I think the problem is like Soul Weavers have a lot of good artifacts already, right? So like you need to have a very good justification to use this over something like Water's Origin or Rod or whatever that melee artifact is. I can't really think of any situation where I care about my Soul Weaver having effectiveness other than this hero, which I won't use. So I can't think of any Soul Weaver that needs this. I mean, can you guys?
I mean, it's just made Chloe if you want to meme with like stunts, I guess, but I don't think that's very
True.
good.
I listen. This is very easy. Just put it in your Tamarin, and then just have it for Expo or something. Easy.
True.
Oh, I guess yeah, like PvE Tamarin artifact if you don't need more healing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So free unit, I guess to be expected kind of thing. I wasn't expecting too much more. All right. So the unit that I guess we didn't expect. I didn't even think it was Celine. I had no idea it was gonna be Celine. I thought it
Yeah.
was either ML Lilius, new MC people were saying, or even like a new standalone unit. But apparently it was ML Celine, which I was kind of surprised about.
Yeah. I felt like I was being lied to, and now I'm starting to think that Kayron is not really Kayron, and I think it's someone else. Like, yes. Yes, of
What do
course.
you?
You don't know that one silhouette where it looks like Kayron is probably not Kayron. I don't think it is.
Oh no, we're gonna get baited.
Enoch.
Yeah, it's
I
gonna
don't
be
know.
ML Enoch.
I am quite good. I don't want to bait myself any longer.
Okay, well, what do you guys think about this unit? Like,
How do you guys know it's Zahak, huh? Why are you guys lying to yourself? You don't even know. we thought this ML Celine was actually the MC, the new MC of the new, chapter 4. No, it was not. No, it is not.
what do you guys think about her skill set, her stats, like how you think she'll be used? Will you be able to use her well? Like, because she has high base speed.
Honestly,
I'm,
she's
I was
really.
Go ahead.
You go ahead.
I don't know. I was kind of confused by the kit because I'm probably missing something. So she basically has a T-Cern passive, but like she doesn't get stealth or anything, so you can just focus her down.
No,
And
no,
the-
CR push.
Wait, she gets CR push? I missed that.
She doesn't get so T-Cern. She only has a fourth of what T-Cern's S2 is. It's literally no stealth, no CR push.
She has CR push, and I missed it. Okay, yeah. So she doesn't really get that much survivability from it. And the S3, I mean, it's kind of awkward because she has to not be debuffed to actually get that off, right? So I don't know. Maybe it's like I'm still new to this meta right now, but I run into a lot of these transition Caesarea cleaves like against something like that, like she's just gonna get bombed and shut down, and she can't even get the S3 off. So you need to be able to get that S3 off for her to actually do anything, unless I'm missing something. So I don't really know how I feel about it. And also, if you build her fast just to go first and give your team immortality, it's just going to get stripped off. So there's probably some combo that she's supposed to be used with that would work well, but I can't think about it. Think of one off the top of my head. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think people would run this on?
I think she's very cool, but I do think she's very hard to use, and I think drafting her will be really strange because I can't think of like a good spot to draft her in like standard at least.
I think the main issue, at least for me, is that she's a single target unit at the end of the day. So like there wasn't really anything that's kind of like makes her kit like really insane other than the fact that she has like a self counter buff.
Mm-hmm.
In a sense that can heal, but that doesn't really justify that she's going to be a good unit. I thought that maybe it would be pretty interesting because then, wow, another revive unit. What more can we ask for? But then when I look at the rest of her kit, it doesn't seem like it really sets her up into getting her S3 off. It just feels like she's probably going to blow up anyway. So what can you do? Right?
Yeah, I feel like she dies before she does too much, and if she doesn't die, you need her to be the slowest unit on your team, right? Because otherwise she doesn't really do anything. She needs to go after your team is already dead or nearly dead, so they can take advantage of the revive and
the other thing is, when she uses her skill 3, she dispels from herself, but she doesn't dispel from her team, right? So like if anyone ends up running like Bazaar, Fairy Tale, anyone with like unbuffable or someone that strips in unbuffables, right? Then your units just can't even get the immortality buff at that point then.
Yeah, it's really weird that she doesn't full cleanse her teammates who are alive. I don't know. Her team, I mean, her kit just seems a bit all over the place, but it's like interesting, but I think it's too hard to make it work properly.
You know what it is? It's Shooting Star Arcades, but this time for the entire team.
Yeah.
But Shooting Star Arcades can still heal, right?
Yeah, she can still heal, but I don't know, man. You may as well call a kit may as well like the same, right?
Yeah, like I don't know. Like I found her kit really weird. Like it's interesting the way her kit was initially, but I feel like it doesn't feel that strong. That's the thing. Like she's cool, but it's literally a weaker version of T-Cern with kind of a weird S3. Yeah.
It looks like you're going to be using her more for the utility than her damage, because unless she has like some whack ass like multiplier and it's like literally 2 on her like S1, like 2 attack multiplier on her S1, and it has fat ass power and all that good stuff, then sure. But it doesn't even penetrate, it doesn't even give her CR, it doesn't give her anything other than like what?
Her S1 does penetrate 35%.
Right? Yeah, but I don't know.
I don't know if the stats were on the showcase, but I watched it, and in the showcase, she hit a Pavel for 3,000 damage. So I don't know if that Celine was just built horribly, or the thing just does 0 damage. I'm granted there was an FCC, but it was a freaking Pavel. So unless that's like a 1,600 defense Pavel, I mean 3k damage, considering that's the only attack she has, it seemed kind of bad.
See, you know what this is? This is basically like Illinois. Her S1 is basically RMG, if you don't know, right?
Oh, sure,
she does penetrate all those things. Like, but unless I can like, get lucky and proc it every single time, then sure. But this thing doesn't really proc it every single time, which is kind of weird, right?
Yeah, that's the thing.
What does this really do?
Yeah, you have to have your possession passive to get a higher % chance, and even then, it's not 100%, right?
Yeah, it's 70.
Yeah. That's the sad part about that. So I don't know. I'm a little hesitant about her. I mean, I'll try pulling for her just because she seems cool, but I'm not gonna like go ham or anything. On that note,
sorry. We should pull for her anyway, because I feel like if we can't think of any way to use her and she ends up not being in the meta at all, like based on recent history, they're gonna buff the crap out of her and she'll be broken in like 3 months. So I feel like you might as well get her.
Yeah, that's true.
Honest, her kit just sounds like something like if it were to be buffed, it just might end up being like a Make Chloe.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah,
I just feel like she has sort of an.
If that's the case, I'm like, wait a minute. You know what? You know how I justify pulling my MO units? Okay, this one looks cool. All right, I pull. This one's mommy.
Do I
am pulling for
like-
this one regardless.
I agree.
Oh my god.
Like I feel like that's the gacha feeling that I get. I'm like, okay, you know what? I just want it because it's waifu.
Fair. Okay, I'm trying to answer this, but just so people who end up watching will know, between A Ravi and between her, which one would you which two would you say?
Hey, Robbie.
I mean, Aravi is just so strong right now. I mean, there's no reason not to get her.
Yeah. Okay.
She's a safe unit right now. Like it's a very, very safe unit to pick up. Most of the time, you're probably going to be easily available to like use her, and she's like a neutral pick in most cases.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with her because I mean, she won't be released until after the RTA season, right?
2 weeks from now.
Yeah. So, I mean, at least
I feel like she has sort of an identity crisis in the sense that she has Pen on her S1, but if you pick her into Cleave, Pen isn't irrelevant because you mostly one-shot squish units anyway. But she's sort of an anti-Cleave unit in the sense that she revives her team with immortality and all that. But then in the same sense, like she just dies because she doesn't gain stealth or CR push, right? So she just dies to like 2 or 3 hits. So it's like she feels lackluster in like almost every way. Like
that's the other thing.
She picks up immortality though. That's the thing, right? She can still pick up immortality, so it's fine.
The other thing about her is, unlike T-Cern, right? T-Cern can cleanse and then boost herself up, right? Celine can't. So you can still stun and silence her, right? Like I found that. Like I feel like she can get it. She just gets controlled Omega hard.
Yeah.
You know?
So the only thing I could think of maybe using this hero for is I don't run into this too often, and maybe it doesn't show up in like High Legend at all. But every once in a while, I'll run into like single target cleaves without debuffs where it's based around like Acid and Closet Charles. Against that, maybe this would be okay because if you have an Aureus on the team, it does take 3 hits to kill her, and they don't have much control or AoE damage, so they kind of have to invest a lot of turns into basically killing her, otherwise they lose. So that's the only comp, and that would almost have to be a 5 pick too. But that's like the only thing I could think of drafting her into is like a 5 pick into like a Closet Charles Acid cleave. I don't know, you guys could tell me if you even run into that later, but like the cleaves all seem to be either that or the Caesarea ones, at least in like Mid-Emperor.
I definitely see more people. Well, currently, right now, we see the toxic. Well, not toxic, but Violet first picks into the. Was it? Yeah, into the Cerise Caesarea kind of cleave mainly, but
I think Closer Charles cleave becomes worse when Rimmer is out too, because he's a soft counter in the sense that he just gives your whole team evasion after Closer Charles hits you. So if you draft like Rimmer plus Elena, it's already really hard to Closer Charles cleave you. I think those type of cleaves already have enough counters by now. It's mostly like Caesarea cleave that's kind of running rampant right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. And then it doesn't matter if you get stunned either way then at that point. If you're running her into Caesarea, if you're stunned, your immortality is 1 turn, it's gonna end up gone anyways.
Yeah, and unlike someone like BBK, she doesn't actually gain immortality at the start of the turn. I think if she had immortality to start with, right, so that you can just kill her before her turn, then maybe there would be some potential. But right now, she just kind of dies too easily.
I mean, then that just makes her entire kit kind of counterintuitive because then she has like immortality, but then now she has like, you know, her S2 where it reduces like maximum damage taken. It's kind of weird.
I guess. I don't know. She's just kind of weird of a unit.
Yeah. We'll have to see what happens with her. When I first saw her, she's cool, but it was kind of like feels kind of weird. Feels kind of weird situation. Okay. To be honest, I do want to go back to one thing. Well, I guess in this case, I guess it'll be more of like off topic at this point. Not really going back, sorry. You guys see what's it called? The Substat thing?
Yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts on that? Like, now that they released that, they I guess they talked about
kind of expected. Kind of expected, you know? It's like
Yeah.
the counter step being 30%. It's like them releasing this is the same thing as the same feeling that I'm getting right now. I'm like, well, shit. Wow. Who knew that it takes me 300 epic pieces in order to get like a 5 speed roll? Sounds about right.
Yeah. Sorry, this is a totally random topic that I didn't really kind of put in there, but I think I went over it right before stream, right before the podcast. I just felt like it'd be interesting to bring up, like, for the percentages we were looking at, like speed and stuff like that, and everything's actually pretty even except for speed.
Well, it's that speed and then like flat stats, right? But not a lot of people really pay attention to flat stats anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't look through it too much, but I did think that stats aren't like as weighted as people think. People think like, oh, there's less of a chance to get speed than other stats, but like I
Mhm.
assume that is all pretty even, right? Because
Yeah.
I don't know, people are just kind of biased, right? If something doesn't go into the stat they want, then they think it's weighted towards another stat. But I
Yeah,
think
that's
them
true.
releasing this is just a very good way of being transparent because after the whole counter set drama or whatever you want to call it, people might be a bit more skeptical towards percentages in the game. So having something like this out is pretty good.
See,
Mhm.
our skepticism on like arena gear and why it's so garbage was actually true. It can only roll as 85 gear. It doesn't roll as 88 gear, if you didn't know.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
So yeah, so arena gear in itself is just garbage.
Ah,
I mean, we've
unfortunate.
always known we were getting scammed there in that sense.
They feel like garbage. I mean, it's still like arena gear in itself is still really good for like new players though. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm pretty sure for like most new players, this thing is like a fat head start for like a lot
Mhm.
of
Yeah.
people. And
I
I know
think if you need
that like when new players are actually out there, you guys always want to be getting your arena gear as soon as possible because you're not gonna get anything better for a while, and most of the time you really do care about your main stat.
Mhm.
Yeah,
True.
I think if you need like one good pen set or something, or one usable pen set even, having an arena set with pen is pretty good, you know? It's good for new
Mhm.
players to get like the first usable set of a specific, type of set you want.
Mhm.
Mhm. Okay. And then I'll leave an open topic. If there's anything chat wants to ask, maybe a few questions, or if there's anything you guys even want to bring up specifically that, or you want to go back to.
I think as a commentator for CCI and stuff, there's something that I do want to ask. How do you guys feel about double pre-bans now? Now that you guys see it in
Ooh.
CCI, how do you guys feel it now in the current state of the game?
I personally wouldn't
Mm,
mind it. I feel like our pool's trying to grow larger to a point where we can start to transition into it. But the biggest worry for me always there is always newer players that are not really new, sorry, but I mean like mid-game players who play Epic 7 for a while, right? They've grown their pool, they want to get into RTA. But if that happens, right, for a newer player that wants to get into RTA to get into it, double pre-ban may not be good. So like, if anything, in the actual ladder, they probably have to do it like double pre-ban starts at champion, you know?
yeah, I agree. I think we're reaching a point where double pre-ban becomes pretty necessary due to the amount of units we have in the game.
Mhm.
And there are also units that are very oppressive in the sense that they limit the draft heavily, like AOL and Belian kind of shuts off a lot of options you can pick. So having them pre-banned actually gives you more units to draft in a sense. So while it sounds weird, having more pre-bans lets you pick more units in the drafts sometimes. So
Yeah.
I think with the amount of units that we have right now, and especially as we're getting more and more units, I think we're moving towards a point where double pre-ban feels pretty necessary, at least in like Champion Plus, as Gabe said.
Mm.
And soon we're gonna get triple pre-ban.
Oh yeah, one pre-ban per year.
What do you feel about DrSquirrel since you've been playing recently? You've been grinding games recently.
I mean, I'm in favor of it. I just, I'm trying to think if there would be any unintended consequences. Like, one thing I mean, I think A Ravi is pretty broken right now, so I pick her all the time. And I'm thinking now, like, if you have a double pre-ban and let's say you do something like pre-ban LQC, maybe S10A, and you just pick A Ravi, like, I feel like the double pre-ban could also be very dangerous in terms of there's a really strong hero that has a limited pool of counters, then pretty much they end up having to ban it, right? So you start controlling the draft right away.
Mm.
Also agree that there's so many heroes now that I think a double pre-ban is inevitable. I mean, they did it in the World Championships too, right? So I think it's overall a good thing.
It wasn't just a double pre-ban. They also banned freaking Rimuru, which was my core unit that I used, versus Arbiter Mildred, and they screwed me over. Listen, I'm still gonna hold it against them because if they did that. The fact that I was using Rimuru in the tournament beforehand, and then they just banned off my solution when, like, you know, unit pool was already so scarce, right? Everyone started picking RB against me, and then I 0-4 out of my way, out of the tourney.
Yeah, that was a unfortunate situation there.
Double pre-ban's great until it's not so great when it actually screws over your pool. And it happens to like a lot of people, right? It's like when a lot of people kind of get like not in their comfort zone anymore. And we like just here, even as me, when I was like commentating like over games like for Elf Mage, right? When he was playing his games, it looked like he was very shaky. Whereas some other people already got like their double pre-ban figured out, but some people are like really, really shaky when you know, when you start realizing that you don't really have your comfort picks anymore.
Yeah, I think double pre-ban changes the match a lot more than people would like first think, right? But I haven't played too much with it personally, so I can't say. But just watching games, it does feel like it becomes sort of a different game when there's 2 more units that are not pickable.
And I think more cheeky units also get into play. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there are so many cheeky units once I saw double pre-bans. Like, never would I thought that Genazad would play Tomoka and then Dilibet and all these other units that have normally not be too popular now.
True.
And then we realized that, okay, wait a minute, they're working.
We saw a lot of different units come out in the CCI tournament because of the double pre-ban now in the current meta, I think, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of things concerns about that. I think like chat's saying a lot, even like whether some people feel like you need like blind, because like if it comes to a situation where well, I guess it's kind of the nature of the game itself, right? If you know your opponent doesn't have something, then you can kind of bully them in that aspect if you know who you're facing, right? Or some people are saying like even for champions it's hard, so they want it for Emperor. And some people are saying like whether it's like rotating turns, so one person bans one, the other person bans another, kind of thing. You go back and forth, right?
I don't think rotating bans is healthy, personally. And if you're planning to actually do that, I don't know how it's actually going to be implemented besides the pre-ban currently. Because this game is a turn-based game and naturally it is rock, paper, scissors currently. If you were to do that, the situation is gonna get out of hand very, very quickly. I think
I agree.
that's where that's where like what DrSquirrel was actually saying. Some units will get out of hand if you actually are able to pick them up very early.
Like, I think the double ban makes the first pick more valuable too, because there's a lot of heroes sometimes you want to pick them but you're scared to pick them, right? Because you start running into force bans. Like, I don't really see people early pick like Steny anymore because Belion's, I'm not saying pre-ban Belion, but like now, like if you can just pre-ban something like, I don't know, like Belion and Charlotte, like so suddenly heroes that aren't safe to pick early become very safe to pick early if you really love that hero. So I think the double ban will change the meta a lot, because I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Like, obviously I've never experimented with it because it's not in the game, so I don't really have experience. But I think the first pick becomes a lot more valuable if you have a double ban, particularly for heroes that don't have a lot of direct counters.
I guess I should also tell you guys one thing. While I was commentating and New was doing coin flips, everybody that actually won the coin flip chose to be first pick.
Right.
So nobody really wanted to be second pick in the position of a double pre-ban.
Yeah, that's true. Because like DrSquirrel said, like you're at a more advantageous point or situation for yourself at that time, right? You know what you can pre-ban, and you get to pick a unit that can be more oppressive on the opponent. So it might just be a straight force ban at that point against a lot of people, right?
Yeah, I do think first pick is a lot stronger even with only one pre-ban, but it probably gets even stronger with 2 pre-bans.
It gets kind of out of control because then most of the time the people that would first pick would just like pick up like the unit that's normally contested and ban out other units that would normally be as neutral. So when you ban away like all the neutral picks, and most of the time that's really what it is, right? You're banning away like units that normally would have flexibility in multiple drafts. It kind of screws people over very, very quickly.
Someone says, what if the second pre-ban happened in the middle of the draft?
It's not a pre-ban then, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It's a mid-draft ban.
Yeah, I guess so there'll be one pre-ban and then one mid-draft ban, I guess, in that case. Sorry.
I don't know if I like that. I think it would shake up the draft too much.
It also take a very long time. People were saying how it might take a while if you like you go 1-2 1-2 or like even in the middle also, right? It could be very strong also, but at the same time, like, well, it depends how much time you get, I guess.
Yeah, the question is where would the ban happen? Like, let's say you pick a Ravi and you know there's a ban after. You pick a Ravi and then you ban LQC in the middle of the draft. It's like, kind of like, you know.
Now it forces people to like draft that unit immediately unless
earlier on. Yeah.
But I think decision making like this though, it's actually kind of unhealthy though.
I think it's format. I wish they would put this in like those informal lobbies. You pick 6 heroes and everyone gets 2 bans at the end. I don't know if that'd be competitive, but I think it'd be hilarious.
I think that becomes too RNG based. Like you have to predict what the other guy's gonna ban, right? And then you have to it turns the matches into even more RNG based because you're kind of guessing bans at the point twice as many bans as you would normally guess.
It would be fun though. It would be like a fun. They definitely need to add more fun modes, I think.
True, but keep it fun, not competitive. Right?
Yeah.
Keep it fun, not competitive.
Lobbies have that already. Like, I think in lobbies you could set more than 1 pre-ban, right?
Yeah. You could set up to 2 or 3 or even 0 if you want.
Yeah. That's how they're able to host like the tournaments with like the double pre-ban and the content creator tournament that happened recently there. Instant Frenzy 9 and mock battles would be fun. Don't you just die? I guess like sudden death. Yeah, that sounds fun actually.
You just get a 320 ran and just kill everyone.
Just
try to go. This is a speed check. That's the same thing as like fodders, right? Whoever has the highest base speed just wins the game. All right, you want to flex your speed gear? Let's do it. Only speed imprints.
Oh, true.
What do you guys? Oh, actually, it's not the first time I heard this, but some people were thinking about. We brought this up last time also. What do you guys feel about dual RTA?
How would it work?
I don't know how that would work yet. So
whether it's like you queue up with someone else and you guys play like 3 matches to see versus 2 other people or whatnot. Like, I guess, okay, the worst part about that is it would take very long. So making a mode to queue into that, I feel like is very hard, unfortunately.
I feel like that would be a lot closer to what a tournament play would be, probably, because then the closest that we actually had for it was in a tournament that we had before, where 3 of us would actually play, or like 3 players from like, global fight versus 3 players from Korea. I remember there was a time like that, and it was like me, YD, and I got the other guy already. Shit, I feel bad. I'm sorry. Basically, when that really happens is like when one player gets eliminated, the other player basically joins in instead. Or it could be like that one time where I literally just 4-0'd someone, and then that was game. That was it. Where I carried the entire team. I remember that. Where Jatai played, and then afterwards I literally just beat everybody up.
That was the one on stream. That one I remember.
Yeah. I don't know.
Wait, it was me that was with Panshui?
It was...
Huh?
People say it was Jenna.
So it was me. It was like me, you, Gabe, like what is it? You, Gabe, and then there's a tie, and there's like one more person, I think.
Oh.
And I think it was against like Car 6, Shotgun Shogun.
Oh, that was right.
And everybody else. It was like a show match and stuff.
Oh, right. I see.
And then afterwards, like the moment, like I think in the rule of the tournament was that I had to pick unique units, so I can't use the same units like twice.
Right. I remember
And
that.
then
Yeah.
basically I was trolling, and then all of a sudden I wasn't trolling anymore, and then okay, that was it. I'm done.
Yeah, I remember you swept that. Yeah.
I mean, there was nothing I could do. I ran out of units to play. I already picked like Tamasario, and then I played like all my fun units already. It's like, what other fun units are there?
Yeah, that was a. I think chat's talking about two different events. I think the other one they're talking about was
Yeah.
when it was me, Genizad, and YD. That was the one against the Korean streamers or content creators. Yeah. But okay, fair.
Two different tournaments.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Aside from that, I think I'll keep it a little bit short today because I know some of you guys are in very later time zones than me and Panshui, so I don't want to keep you guys up.
Technically, it's early here.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true too. Yeah, so as always, thank you guys for joining the stream tonight, joining for the podcast, especially DrSquirrel and Rikazo, both of you. A little bit last minute too, so appreciate that a lot. As always, feel free to plug in your social media, your links, where the viewers can find you, and then we'll end it off there. Panshui.
You guys can find me at twitch.tv/Panshui, all my other social media, but really I only use Discord. So if you guys just go over to my Twitch, you guys can find me and all the information there. Thanks for having me, Gabe.
Yeah. DrSquirrel.
Yep. I mean, you can find me on YouTube. I don't have a Twitch, so yeah, you can reach me on Discord if you want to contact me. And thanks for having me.
Appreciate you joining. And Rikazo.
Yeah, you can find me at twitch.tv/Ozakir, and I also have a Discord server. Those are pretty much the only ways to reach me right now. But everything can be found on my Twitch channel if you want to join my Discord or anything else. It's all there.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you guys for joining. Honestly appreciate it. And hopefully you guys enjoy the podcast. Peace.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining.
Bye.